change into Skype now that we're ready, because you guys have to see who our guest looks like today.
Okay.
And I'm sure the rest of the internet is sharing our sentiment with this poor little quote-unquote global warming panda. But
oh wow.
We're not here to talk about sad things like that, internet. No! Welcome to the Twinstiq Game Club, where we are going to discuss the puzzle novel game, quote-unquote, Replica. It's a cool game, but before we start jumping into the game, let's talk about who's here. I'm Cody, and then with me, I've got Screw Loose.
Hey guys, how are you?
I think they're very hot. Grey Wolf, how are you doing?
I am very cold.
Well,
oh, you put Nikolai in.
Aren't you a lucky panda then?
No. For context, okay, I am in a gown, in a jersey, and in regular clothes.
Yeah.
So, there we go. It is
yep.
not. Oh, it's better than where you are. I mean, I would rather have the cold than have the hot.
Cool.
Why am I getting to the... I mean, I just went to our live channel, and it shows Mark of the Ninja, episode 11, and Nikolai is talking. So, I don't know if something's wrong with the stream.
I hope not. I'm good.
Oh, no, here we go. Here we go. I got it fixed. Somehow, I think I must have skipped to the next episode, and, well, anyway, here we are.
So,
I'm back.
you skipped to the next episode. You're in the future. Is that what you're saying?
The last
you're in
episode. The next, yeah.
No, well,
I was back to the past. Back to the future.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Flack to the future.
Yeah.
The game we're playing actually could possibly take place in a future, although it's definitely very reflective of a certain regime that exists currently. So Replica is the game we're going to be talking about today. For those who don't know, Replica is a 2D puzzle interactive novel visual game. It's a genre bender. I don't know how else to describe it. That's basically sums it up. It was developed by a guy named Somi, S-O-M-I, which is also the antagonist of the game. But basically, it's a pretty simple premise. You are given a cell phone, and you don't know who the cell phone belongs to, and you get a phone call from a weird number, and it tells you to look for evidence of terrorism by hacking into the cell phone and all the accounts on said cell phone. And if you don't, then the government will punish your family.
Yeah.
So that's the hook, and
there's no good way to do it.
There is one good ending,
really.
basically, but you have to wait 2 hours of in game to get it. But this game was developed by a South Korean developer, solo project. He's made a few other games, but this one he got a lot of recognition for. He won the Impact Award at the Indiecade last year, and best narrative at Indie Stream.
Okay, Indie Stream needs to rethink that.
I mean, how many indie games had super stick with you narratives last year? You know?
I don't know, but I do take issue with this particular award.
Well,
and I'll tell you why.
Let's just jump into it. Let's jump into it.
Sure.
So,
okay.
Spoilers thrown out for Replica. Gray didn't buy the
from
game.
This point onward. The problem with the writing is that the guy that he has as an antagonist is a cartoon villain, like completely a cartoon villain, and it's from that perspective, it doesn't feel like good writing. So one of the things I've been saying in the run-up to this particular game club is I'm so glad that we played Reigns before we played this, because the subtlety of the narrative in Reigns is very, 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 it's there, and you can definitely see what the guy is driving at with Reigns. He's talking about monarchies and how monarchies are not necessarily a good thing, but sometimes they can be an okay thing. And it's very subtle because of the way he does the phrasing, and every bit of story that you get in Reigns is delivered in these cards, and the cards are very concise. Okay. The contrast between that and this is like day and night. The guy who phones you,
Yes.
the Homeland Security guy, like the more you talk to him, the more like a cartoon villain he becomes, you know? And it's straight up not good writing.
See, his responses to me always came off like someone reading off like a government response sheet. Like, hey, if they say something along this lines, you have to talk. You have to say these words, and there's probably
these are the things you're allowed to say.
Yeah, it always felt like there was a gun to the back of his head as well. You know, like this is what you have to tell this guy to do, and this is how you're going to say it. It felt very much like writing by committee, and I think that was very purposeful because the character you would play as doesn't talk like that. You know, he doesn't talk all corny. He talks a lot more like an individual, whereas the person from Homeland Security feels much more robotic because it seems to me that he's talking off of like a spreadsheet.
Maybe that might be the ending that you got versus the ending that I saw. Because in the ending that I saw, so there are lots of different endings that you can have for this game.
Yes.
And the ending that I saw was where you go all the way down the rabbit hole where you help Homeland Security. Okay? And by the end of that, because the guy that you are playing, the protagonist, he's
Tom or something?
unsettled by what's going on. Like, he questions it all the way. And there came a point where the Homeland Security guy basically said, oh, I gave the guy some water. And then the protagonist is like, oh, wow, was he thirsty? And the guy then jumps to, oh no, he waterboarded him. I was like, well, that's real cartoon villain stuff right there.
Yeah.
And like the further down this rabbit hole that the playthrough went, that I watched, the less I wanted to like this game, because I can see where he's driving and I get what he's talking about. He's talking about fascism and how bad it is, but you can't make that point in a cartoon villain way. You can't, because we've had a regime like this in Nazi Germany before, and it didn't turn out well for anyone. Sorry, Julius, go for it.
I was just gonna say my thought about going down the rabbit hole is that there are a few ways that you can trap yourself, and
yes, most of the ways most of the endings are from you going against Homeland Security's orders.
Yeah, right. But I didn't go against Homeland Security's orders. I did in a way, because they said this one to follow app, basically Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And it says, they said, well, that's already been tried, and you don't have to.
Right.
But then on the to-do list comes up and says, download S, get into it, crack it, find out. And I was like, okay, I guess if it's still part of the list. So I figured it out, and I got into it, and then the guy calls me, and he goes, well, all right, man. I mean, I guess you took the initiative. How great did that feel, peeking into someone's life? But he goes, remember, now no one's forcing you to do this, so you're just as bad as we are. Just remember that from here on out.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
And so I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna put that down, Dan. I just stopped. I got out of that.
Yeah.
And there were other things like, find clues as to this guy being a terrorist. He was obviously a terrorist. He used things like revolution. That means he's a terrorist. And so I was like looking through, and I would find little things that's like, okay, this is it, and this is it. And suddenly they're like, that's it, we got it. He's a terrorist, your family is safe. And you're like, wait a minute. My ending was Thomas, I think is your character's name, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And he says, well, wait a minute now. I mean, I can't believe what you guys did. And the guy goes, you mean what we did?
Yeah,
you're part of this too, remember? And that was the end. And
well, he also and for that ending, doesn't he go like, yeah, if I need you, I'll get a hold of you. Your phone number is this, right? And he gives you your phone number, which is important for getting another ending. If you
I think he
replay.
does that in every ending that you go down the Homeland Security route.
Yeah.
Because
Maybe.
that
I
was
don't
the ending
remember
I
seeing
saw. Okay.
I don't
'Cause the
remember seeing
ending-
that. I think you're probably right, but I don't remember that.
Yeah.
The ending I saw basically had him say, "Oh, by the way, we know who you are. There were like 35 other cell phones. Good luck."
Yeah. Okay.
Now, see, when you help Homeland Security, they tell you what your phone number is. Did either of you ever learn who? Because I can't remember whose cell phone you have. I can't remember his name. But did you find out where he is currently?
Dickie.
No.
Dickie's phone?
Dickie,
He's
no.
in the cell next to you.
Oh yes,
Okay.
that's right. It
And
was mentioned.
There's
There's
an ending though that reveals. So I think it's if you answer Dickie's mom when she calls you, because that was the first time I played this. I did that because I was like, I can't ignore this because she just keeps texting you and calling you, and you're like, she just wants to know where her kid is. So I answered. Yeah. And then Homeland Security was like, "Oh, you fucked up." And Dickie's been going through your cell phone in the next cell, and he found tons of evidence against you. So we're gonna lock you up. So they gave you each other's cell phones.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh, wow.
what? Oh,
Now,
that blew
Yeah,
my
now
mind.
it's a dirty game, man. It makes you feel terrible. You just
It
feel like an
does.
awful person.
Yeah.
It does.
Well, it's a little like Papers, Please to me in that aspect, because it's it's telling you, hey, if you don't do this, your family is going to be the one who suffers, which was what Papers, Please was like to me, because I was always like, I mean, I can let this guy through and be with his wife, but then I'm, my family's not going to be able to eat food, and my son's going to die. So sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: did either of you guys call 911 on that phone?
No.
No, but I know that you
never
can.
even thought to do
Wait,
that.
no, the playthrough that I saw did do that, and they got through some of the conversation, and then you say to 911 that you are being held by Homeland Security, and they're like, bye.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
no.
exactly what happens. You say, "I'm being held against my will by Homeland
boy.
Security," and they're like, "Oh, what? Well, we
bye."
can't bye," and they hang up. And then
Right.
and then the guy from Homeland calls you and says, "Hey, you can't make
Don't
calls
do
on that
that.
phone. Do
Yes,
it again,
yeah.
and you're done."
Yeah, that's right.
Holy, what the hell was that? Sorry, there's some stuff falling over in the kitchen still from this giant barbecue that has been unloaded. And anyway,
The developer for this game has his Skype up on his website. Should we invite him to the call?
I don't know if he'll be around.
What time is it? In
I mean,
South
you
Korea?
could.
I think South Korea. Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, he probably won't be around.
Let's not call this guy.
No, okay.
My feelings are
It's
basically what I said
5:30
already.
a.m. Yeah, we'll leave him alone.
Yeah. So anyway, no, I want to say that I enjoyed my playthrough. It was engaging and it was intriguing. But I can't say that because it was a stressful.
Yeah, right.
It made me feel
it makes you
freaking
feel
terrible.
dirty.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Right. Now my.
But in
perspective-
terms
Yeah,
of the
go.
fact that it's supposed to make you feel that way,
yeah,
they
'cause
did a
that's
great job.
what-
Yeah.
Right.
Aside,
like my-
aside from the cartoony Homeland Security guy,
Yeah.
did you guys feel that this was screaming "I am a video game" the whole time, or were you convinced that this felt like an actual phone that somebody could own?
Okay, so
I go ahead,
Go.
Gray.
no, go.
I just
okay,
wanna
was
stumble
just gonna
over
say,
you,
I think they did a pretty good job with making a phone feel like a phone.
yeah,
I don't really feel like it was, I don't know, that realistic feeling. There was, download an app and then break into the app and
right.
look at these 4 pictures that this guy managed to take and find information, break into his secret files, and I don't know if I really feel like that to me didn't feel too realistic. That felt like a puzzle box.
Yeah. Right.
But But I thought the way it was handled as far as going back and putting clues in, some were super obvious and some were not.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way you found clues just by just clicking on something and then
Right, tapping on something.
Because every once in a while I would click on something and it would go, oh, you found a clue, and I'd go, oh, I did? I was just browsing around.
Surprise.
Right. Yeah, I just happened to not hold the button down while I was dragging the screen around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was going to say much the same thing. Just like the aesthetic of it being like a phone was there, but the way you interacted with it was not real. I mean, it's not what I would expect a phone to behave like. That's the thing. And the way it gave you feedback was just... that felt video gamey. That did actually feel like, here's a puzzle, off you go, solve the puzzle. But the puzzle that you're solving resolves around you clicking on the screen, and
a green check mark or a red X,
right,
and that's what
right,
that's
and that felt video gamey. But the actual aesthetic of the phone and using the phone was okay. That turned out quite well.
Yeah.
One of the things that I didn't really like was that it sort of bills itself as a hacking game, and it's not really a hacking game. It's an observation game. As long as you're very observant and you're looking for the right clues, you will find all the answers that you need as you go along. So there's no real hacking there.
No, it's not. Well, I mean, yes and no, because that's technically how you hack most things. It's just to figure out people's passwords and stuff.
Yeah, right.
But no, I understand what you're saying, and that's why I always hesitate to call this a puzzle game, because it's a lot like Gone Home to me in that they are technically puzzles, yes, but there's definitely one path that you have to go through, and it's just a matter of eventually seeing what you need to do to move along.
Right.
Yeah,
right. Because Gone Home, by contrast, presents this big house, and you are looking for ways to see more of the house. And the way Gone Home works is that as you do the correct things in the correct sequence, it opens the house to you. And this game is a little bit like that.
Yeah. You get a phone, you see all these apps, and you go, well, I don't have the password for this, I don't know what this to do, and then you learn, oh, he's got a girlfriend, maybe his Twitter password's his girlfriend's birthday, and all this kind of stuff. And so you just have to slowly unlock more rooms, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. And it can be really slow. Now, for me, it took me like 20 minutes just to get off the initial lock screen. I couldn't figure it out.
Wow.
And then,
and
then I was like, oh, wait a minute. It was a silly thing that I just wasn't paying attention to.
Yeah.
But, I was just like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. No, and then I had to, when I did quit the game, I had to Alt F4 to quit because there was no quit button. I didn't know how to do it. Okay. Whatever.
That's how I quit most of my games, so I guess I just never noticed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was when I ended the game, it was like, do you want to start over or start a new?
Yeah.
Continue your playthrough or start over, or there was no quit or main menu or anything like that, and escape didn't work, so I just force shut it. Yeah.
Right.
So this is let's talk about very quickly, because I said before the stream that I'd talk about this. I did not buy this one. I went and looked at the playthrough, and the reason why I didn't buy this one is because I felt the same way once I figured out what I was looking at. I felt the same way about this that I felt about Spec Ops. And I said during Spec Ops, my big problem with Spec Ops is that it's a game about war that, as a person who's slightly older now, I don't necessarily need to play it because I'm aware that war is bad. And the more I saw of Replica, the more I felt, the same thing.
North Korea sucks. I don't really think I need to...
No.
Neo-fascist regime is bad, okay? And that's fine.
Okay.
Right. I don't necessarily think that the people in North Korea suck. I think that the regime sucks. That's a big difference.
Yes, that's what I am.
The people in North Korea, they happen to have this guy who happens to be a dictator. They might not want him there. That's probably
I'd go
how
on
they
a limb
feel.
and say the majority of them do not want him there.
Right. So, I've done enough reading, and because one of the subjects that I studied in school and post school was history, and I had a genuine appreciation for reading about that kind of thing and learning about it. So when I saw that this was basically about where the world is trajecting towards, I was like, well, I'm already aware that this is terrible. And while it might be valuable to give this guy money for saying, oh, you made a game about this issue, the other thing in the back of my head was, I'm already aware that this is an issue. I'm already aware that we're living in a time where we are having a problem with fascism as it is. I don't need to go into detail in a video game about how bad fascism actually can be, because I've seen enough about that in my reading to know that it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah.
Now, the maybe the biggest problem that I have with this game is how ham-fisted it is. It takes, if you know what you're doing, it can take less than 5 or 10 minutes to get where you're going, if you know what you're doing. And along the way, if you're paying attention, everything that he does, as far as writing goes, is there's no subtlety in the writing, and I talked about that earlier. And so, by the end of it, what he wants you to get from it is what you will get from it, is that this is bad, bad, bad. I
don't know. I think it is comparable to Reigns in that it does a good job of finding subtlety in binary choices.
Okay.
Reigns does that.
I
kind
can
of
see
on a
where
metatextual level
coming from.
And Replica does
right.
that not as subtly, but its binary choices aren't always as black and white as Homeland Security in the game shows it to you to be.
Right.
And when you learn more about the people you're investigating and the person you are, and even the people who are directing you, it does come off a bit more gray, especially on multiple playthroughs. And you're right.
Okay.
When replaying this game, it's a lot easier to do because, well, you know all the passwords for everything now.
Yeah, nothing changes. It's not different every time.
Right.
Thank God. That
You're
would be
just
super
looking
annoying.
for a
if
There
different
aren't
words.
any randomizations of things. Yeah.
It would be kind of stupid if it was, because now it's like,
Right.
oh, I just want to know what the other endings are, and then you can just
Yeah,
click through
right.
them real quick and figure out all the different things. Especially if you do everything Homeland Security tells you to do, and they give you your phone number, and if you've learned that he's in the room next to you, you can go to your Bluetooth and you can Bluetooth your phone and start talking to the guy you're investigating.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of you guys saw that.
No, I didn't see any of that.
No, I didn't actually use any of the options screen.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is just gameplay options. I didn't
Once
actually
you have your phone number, if you turn on Bluetooth, you can both start talking to each other, and he gives you basically an option. You have to wait 2 hours in game because you have to wait for the next day, but then you two can work together to take down the government and free all the people.
Right.
Oh.
Yep.
That's
for this game. That's a good ending, I guess.
That is the good ending. Yeah.
Oh, isn't it?
There's not really any others. All the other ones are you in jail or him in jail, and he doesn't really deserve it either. He's just going to a fucking music concert
No,
with his
I mean
friends.
that's the thing. Like, the more I was watching this guy uncover, the more I was like, well, he's a concerned citizen. He's watching all of these things spiral out of control, and he just wants to make sure that his voice is heard. He doesn't want this to happen to his country.
Yeah. I don't think I ever learned why Thomas was arrested. I know why Dickie was arrested, because Dickie went to a concert, and the concert
Yes.
had a song that was anti-government, and that's illegal.
Yeah, anti-government themes.
But I never learned why Thomas is here.
Thomas was there because what was happening was they were trying to draft him into going to the concert with them. And so Homeland Security must have just picked up everyone who
who is even
even remotely
slightly involved with the concert. Okay.
Yeah, right. And so, I mean, the concert itself was, I thought, sort of harmless enough. But I mean, again, this is a different.
Yes, that's the point of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I kind of felt like the more I saw of the guy in the cell next door to me, Dickie, the less I felt that what Homeland Security had done in this particular case was warranted. Yeah,
I don't think there's any point where the game says, yeah, what we're doing is totally cool.
Yeah, right. So, there you go.
Yeah.
Final thoughts then, or have we basically all just kind of given our final thoughts there?
I think final thoughts. I don't know. I'll just go to a recommendation. I'm glad I only paid 89 cents.
That's not bad.
It's not that I dislike this. I do think it's a cool puzzle game, and if you're into maybe feeling stressed out about something and you don't mind, the aesthetic of.
Well, I mean, this War of Mine is $4 on Steam right now, and I'm staring at it like, yeah, I do want to feel kind of depressed and stressed out. That sounds
right. Yeah, and that stuff is there. Like, those games are out there, and they're good. I'm not saying that this is bad.
Yeah.
It certainly does what it tells you.
It's not for everybody. It's not.
No.
I
it does what it tells you it's going to do.
Manchester by the Sea the other week, and I was like, I can totally understand why no one would ever want to watch this movie, because
it's a one and done kind of thing. I don't really want to play this game again. Someday I probably will. Maybe I'll play through and see if I can get a different ending. But I felt really like invasive, and dirty, and it was bad.
Yeah.
And we've had this discussion about a few games I've picked, and I guess I should probably stop doing that then. It's it's the Schindler's List thing, right?
No, not necessarily.
I think well made and good, but you're like, I don't need to watch that again.
Yeah, right. It's like Braveheart. It's a great movie, but I don't need to see that happen again. I like that this is out there because it's neat.
Yeah, I mean.
But as far as a puzzle game going around, get something else, because
this
is horrible. It's going to make you mad about life.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I have.
But it's affordable. It's $2. So.
Yeah, and for that price, if you're at least a little bit curious, go get it.
But yeah.
I have reservations about games that talk about. There's a whole string of them that are coming out now. Things like This Is the Police, this game, Papers, Please, that kind of thing.
I almost made you guys play that too. That game's great.
Orwell, all those games. I am aware that there is a problem with surveillance in our current time, and I don't need to be reminded that when I pick up and play a game.
I don't know if This Is the Police is about surveillance, but the other ones definitely are. Yeah, Orwell, obviously. It's in the name.
Right. But I think it's important that these games exist, because the thing is that I'm, again, not really the target demographic for this, but I think that younger people need to be aware that there was a time when this wasn't the norm, and you need to see up close how this is going to end, and be aware that it could end in any of these very bad dystopian ways.
Yeah, there's a price for having larger government.
Yeah, and so I don't begrudge these people who are curious about this game to go and play it. You should go play it, because it's a very important piece of where we're headed. It's part of the puzzle of where we're going. But as a person who understands all that, when I sit down and play a game, this is not the kind of thing that I am necessarily looking to play.
Yeah, it's like an awareness title, but
right.
But I agree. I don't really think it needs to be there. I like it. I actually do like it. It's hard for me to say that because I hate it at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think it's something that if you're interested in this kind of thing, check it out because there are a lot of different endings and it's kind of clever the way they handle some of these things. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't want to play it anymore.
So I'm just going to talk about my recommendations before I leave off. One of the things I said about Reigns is that I think that Reigns is a game that lends itself to giving to like your 12-year-old son, and he plays it, and then he has all these questions about the monarchy and all the situations that are in Reigns.
Yeah.
This game, again, I think that you should give to a son or a daughter, but we're talking about an older son or daughter now. We're talking like 16, 17.
Mid-teens, yeah.
Right. Where they have been exposed to the idea of a kingdom, but not necessarily to the idea of fascism. Because we don't really, as a society, talk about fascism a lot at all. Because every fascist regime that we've had ended in a terrible place of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're loath to kind of talk about, we understand fascism is bad as adults, but we don't really talk about why it is bad to our sons or daughters. So, like, I want to say that if you are curious as a parent, then you should absolutely pre-play this first before you give it to your son or your daughter, just so that you know what you're getting into. Because there's two conversations that you're going to have about this game. The one is fascism is bad, and the other one is that you, as a person, shouldn't be digging on in other people's private data like the phone makes you do and Homeland Security makes you do. So those are the two conversations that are going to come out of this. They're a lot less nuanced than the ones that are going to come out of Reigns, but they're important to have.
True. Yep.
I have a question though, Cody, and maybe you know too, Greg, because I didn't look this up. But is this actually designed as a phone app as well, similar to like what Reigns was?
I
was
trying
like
to find that, and I have not actually seen. Yes, it is also on the App Store and Google Play, but it was originally released on itch.io and then Steam and then iOS and Android.
Right.
All right.
See, that doesn't surprise me because it lends itself to being on a phone. In a phone environment.
Yeah, and that might feel better to play it like you're actually on a phone. It might give you a little. I'm not going to say immersion, but
right.
in that aesthetic.
Right.
But yeah, it might feel a little better if you're actually tapping a phone rather than clicking a screen and whatever.
Meh.
Right.
Mouses are better than fingers.
I agree. If I
agree.
could just have mouses attached to my hands.
Oh my
You'd be
god.
great.
That's not true. That's not true.
Nipping at everyone who gets close, like.
And also, you'd have little reticules for eyes so that you could click on things.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, right. It's just blinking.
You want to open a door? Well, you gotta have your reticule over it, and then you gotta have your mouse hand to open it with the reticule on.
Perfect.
And then when it doesn't work, you press F to pay respects.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry.
Oh boy.
So there we go. That's my recommendation. My recommendation is that if you're an older person, you will know what this is all about, and this is maybe not for you, but if you have a son or a daughter, or even if you have someone who supports something like that, and you want them to see where this might all end, it's helpful from that perspective. They might not want to see what you're showing them, but it's important that they see it. So
cool.
There you go.
No.
Mine's not going to be nearly as complicated. If you have $1.50 to spend right now while it's on the Steam sale and you're bored, check it out.
Buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Boom. There it is. Alright. So that's Replica. Cool. So, we've got 2 games left of this round. We've got Screw's pick here for Galaxy. True still isn't here, but his pick is Corpse Party. Do we want to go ahead and roll for that, or do we want to?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
roll.
Or do we want to wait
roll.
for True to be here for the week after, when his pick will definitely be picked, and just choose Galaxy? Up to you. Up to you, Screw. Roll or just go for Galaxy.
Let's roll it. Let's
All right.
roll it. Let's just
All right, let me get the stacks going here.
Ooh.
Screen share
We're
it
just
to you
gonna-
guys so you can see it.
You're just
in
gonna
live
roll a
time.
D2, or are you gonna like
Yeah.
heads?
Yeah,
Flip
we'll
it?
just do
Flip a coin.
odds and
Flip a
evens. Odds and evens.
All right, I'll choose evens.
All right. You guys see that?
I'm not actually looking at it now. Oh, yep, there it comes.
Cool. All right. Evens. We're playing
I
Galaxy
see it.
Z. That's
Oh,
a
very
4.
good. There it is.
Okay.
Boom. Perfect.
Cool.
Worked out.
Cool.
We'll pick it up.
All right.
I'll do an intro page for it in just a few minutes.
What is your background of? That's very pretty.
That would be the Ebon Hawk.
Oh, I like
cool.
it.
Yeah.
Nice
Because
desktop wall.
KOTOR is amazing. And I'm sure if I change it, it'll also be cool, whatever it turns into. Yeah. Alex Ross
Oh, wow.
Spider-Man art. There we go.
Nice.
Stop sharing screen now, though.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, next week we will be talking about Galaxy Z, and Screw will go ahead and post that up on the website for us. And
Thank you, Stu.
that will be cool to play. You want to tell us a little bit about it? Give us a quick teaser.
Just a little sort of. I'm not even sure if you call it a shmup. It's not quite a shmup, so not really quite a bullet hell. It's just a fun little kind of arcade shooter.
Okay.
Set in sort of 80s anime space combat. Really fun, just flying through asteroids and shooting bugs and doing little missions here and there. It's just fun. I mean, these are the things I want to play for Game Club, or things that are just fun.
Right, yeah. Sorry. I keep nominating things that I think are important. Oh, one sort of thing that I wanted to mention when we were talking about our friend Replica is that this is sort of a trajectory, it's a game trajectory that we saw starting with the thing that I've been playing off and on, want to get a divorce from, called The Mindful Voyaging, which was a game about specifically this kind of thing, where fascism might end. And it was a very sort of socially aware game for its time. It was also incredibly cartoony. I mean, you wander around in 2090 and someone hacks you to death because you're old. So, but it's good that we have the strand of game sort of ever present, because they're important to have.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So Galaxy, yeah, looking forward to that.
Me too. I love bullet hells, even if they're not, even if they are strainly bullet hells, I guess.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. But I also hesitate to call it that, because it's not quite that. It's not that frantic, but it's fun.
It's a bullet
cool
light.
like,
bullet light.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's good stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and write. In fact, I just signed into WordPress now. I'll write up a thing and
All
put
right.
it up
Good.
soon.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, then we'll end the call here before we get too inside baseball. Thank you for watching, Internet. Hope you enjoyed our discussion of Replica. Tune in next week, or the week after, or the week after, or after. We never know.
Yeah,
You never know.
We never
here.
know.
This could be
We
50
are not-
Shades of Unprofessional.
We are not professional.
But
Yeah.
thanks again for watching, guys. Tune in next time and say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.